Hi everyone, good morning. It's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. Hope you're having a great day today. Hope that you've woken up feeling good and healthy and happy and ready for another day. I am starting my day as I always do with one of my favorite teas. If you remember, gosh, a long time ago, I told you about this tea that I picked up at Fortnum and Mason's in England when I was traveling, and of course I used it all. But when I was there a few weeks ago, I picked up this ginger and Sicilian lemon with turmeric. It's a really, really nice tea, and I actually put it in my thermos when I travel. Become one of my go-to teas. But here we are. It's kind of yeah, it's got a yellowy tinge like a turmeric tea, but it doesn't mention that on the front of the label. It just says ginger and lemon, but it's got turmeric too. It's really good. So hope you've got a cup of tea or coffee as well, and are settled down for a day. Now maybe you've already started your day and it's evening now. You've been to work or out with friends and you're back home now listening to this video and pulling out off the shelf a nice book to read. Now, I know from asking questions of our women in our community that we love to read. Our community seems to have a really strong book contingent. We love to read. And we love to read all kinds of genres. I never am ceased to amazed by the ones that people tell me they love. And, it's just a really nice way to spend a few evenings. Now, time in your evening. Now, I have books by my bedside, and I also have audiobooks I'm listening to. And I kind of mix it up. And that's just sort of how I think. And I also do a lot of research online as well. So I'm always reading on my Kindle as well. But anyway, we love to read. Now, Frances Brown is one of our bloggers, and she is a book aficionado. She writes about books for us and also just about the pleasure of, finding new books, getting recommendations. And this article on 5 creative ways to find your next great book to read is a really cool article. I'll leave a link to it, and then you can just kind of look at the ways she suggests that we might want to search for new books. Now, there's always the onlines, on Amazon, Goodreads. Those are pretty much standards for people to go to. I get a lot of my ideas off of Facebook, but the online options are always there. But book clubs are a great place to start too. I mean, even if you don't belong to the book club, just go online to, check out book club selections, and you'll find out what people are reading around the country, around the world, and you can just jump in there with a book that looks good. Club organizers are obviously avid readers, and so they know what's going on, and they know what's on their fingers on the pulse, and they make some really good recommendations. Now, what I do sometimes too, and I did this a bit yesterday, I was catching up on books, is if you go to Amazon, for one, maybe there's others too, but you can have a sample of the book sent to you, to your Kindle. And it's a couple of chapters usually, and it really gives you a good idea of the style of the writer and, kind of what the book's going to be about. Nothing's ever revealed in the first chapter, so it's always a nice taster. That's one option. Another that Frances recommends is librarians. We have some amazing librarians in our town. We have a very nice book, library, and I go there sometimes just to randomly pick things off the shelf. But they have a lot of lists. They are in the book business, and they know what's going on. They know what's coming soon, and they're really aware of titles that have done well, and also that have not done so well. So if you're thinking about reading a book and it's really hot on your list, and then you look at a review or 10 or 20 of them to find, other people thought differently. So it's just a nice way to get a more balanced perspective on what to read. So I think that's a good idea. Now, another thing that Frances recommends is to, of course, talk to your friends. Now, friends, if you're with like-minded people, you're normally always reading something. I have a couple of good friends on Facebook who I always go to them for book suggestions because, I don't know, they must spend like half their life reading. They just love books. And, I just, you get ideas, just from people you get along with, that you have a shared kind of value system or shared kind of curiosities. And we're all kind of creative, artistic people, and so the books are usually quite creative, innovative. Those are the books I like. Although I do read an assortment. And I'm going to show you later some of the books I just grabbed off my shelf so you can see what I'm reading right now. Of course, you can Google it. You can always just, if you have a title that you know think is going to be good, or by an author that you've read the previous book, and then you think, oh wow, that was amazing. Whatever that person writes now, I'm going to read. And if it comes along, but maybe it's a little different style or approach. So that's kind of a good thing. And you can also type in to Google or Bing, what are books like? This title, A Girl on the Train. What is a book like? A Girl on the Train. And it will come up and say, people who bought this book also liked this one. And that's a really useful thing. And of course, there's authors on Goodreads, and you can look at their biographies, kind of where they're from, what their genre is, and get lots of good ideas just from Googling and using the internet for searching. Just random. It's amazing actually what you can find just by typing, a phrase or a title. The world has just gotten so full of information. But anyway, Amazon, of course, is a big one for me. The recommendations there are very, they're built on an algorithm that, no, I don't think any human beings are actually involved, but they do put recommendations together based on sales, cross sales, what people have purchased in a certain season. And, again, I mentioned earlier, customers who purchased this book also bought is a really great source for me of ideas, inspiration. Don't always follow them. I seem to have a mind of my own when it comes to book reading, but I often do find good recommendations based on the buying habits of other people who like the ones I did. So, list of books with similar themes, genres, medieval history or, world history, detective novels, millennial stories, whatever you can think of. Type it in to Amazon and you'll find some suggestions. I swear, it's really, really useful. Now, I also, I mentioned to Frances when I was chatting with her about this article that I also go online or watch documentaries on TV. Actually, I don't have a TV, I confess. I only have my iPad and my computer, and I watch documentaries on Netflix or on other channels. I watch my news on a channel called France 24, France 24, and it's it's a European news channel. I prefer it personally to the global American channels because I just feel like I get a more worldwide view. And they have sections interspersed in their news reporting, interviews with movie directors, with book authors, and I think I must have bought 5 or 6 books just from suggestions on France 24. So you probably got your favorite channels, maybe PBS or NPR, even AARP, other places you go that recommend books. So I wouldn't discount those as well. So I would really be interested in knowing what you read. You probably can see when I do my videos here that I've got books often stacked up all around the place. I'm going through a period right now where I'm really eclectic in my reading. I'm reading Joseph Campbell again. I don't know whether you know him as an author, but he wrote lots of interesting books on mythology. And I'm listening on audio tape to A Hero with a Thousand Faces, which is a great book, classic, about how there are certain rituals and practices that you find all over the world. The same kind of pattern repeats itself. And since I'm so interested in community and people around the world, I find that Joseph Campbell is a great read. And so I'm listening to that on my audio tape. But I just grabbed these 3 books. I'm just on by my bedside. And the first one is with, I don't know if you can read this backwards. It's called Big Magic: Creative Living Beyond Fear. And it's by Elizabeth Gilbert. Now, Elizabeth Gilbert, we all know, wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and we can either forgive her for that or love her for that, whichever. It seems like you're split down the middle. But this is her new book, Creative Big Magic. And it's really, I think, a very inspiring book about the creative process and how, as you get older, well, at any age really, but for me, as you get older, you want to have it's easy on yourself. If you want to paint, you're not that great a painter, just go ahead and paint anyway. If you really want to write, Doesn't matter if you're the world's best writer, just that you're a writer. And it's a very, very good book for that. I think if you're interested in making that leap in creativity in your own life, you might like that book. The other one I'm reading is A History of the World. It's A History of the World in Bite-Sized Chunks. It's by Emma Marriott. Picked this up when I was in London, and it just struck me as I was reading it, going through medieval history, that I don't know anything about the world history, really. I mean, I know kind of little how things kind of connected and the big dates and the big inventions, but didn't really know much about cultures, in the 800s, 1500s. So this book is A History of the World in bite-sized chunks, and I'm reading that. And then this one I just picked up when I was in the UK because I'm super interested in medieval history. Don't know why, just am. And I picked up this book by Philippa Gregory, The Red Queen. She is an amazing author. I've read a couple of her books. She writes about kind of Tudor England, 1600s, and they're historical fiction. So they're not really true, but they're stories about very famous female characters in history. The Red Queen and others, the White Queen, there's several others that she's written. And they've been bestsellers for, 20, 30 years. She's very well known, Philippa Gregory. But those are three of the books that are kind of on my table right now. And I pick them up randomly and read as I have a moment. And so I just wonder what you're reading. I would love to know. I really would. What books are you reading right now? Maybe give us one or two that you're dug into, and share the title and author so we can have a look ourselves and maybe get inspired by your ideas. Okay, everyone. Well, I think it's on to book reading now. I really want to sit down and read a little bit, just relax and put my feet up. And I hope that you do too. I hope you have a great day. If you're working, get out there and do your work, and know that you're doing great for your future. I know a lot of our women are still working, including me. And I want to give you my support. But also, tell us what books you're reading right now. That's a little fantasy. And we'll talk to you all again really, really soon. Take good care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.